What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Beyond the Scare. I'm one of your hosts, Danny Royce. I'm joined by my brother. What's good, Pauly?
Up, everybody.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for tuning in and joining your favorite scare experts as we dive into all things horror. We know you love horror. We do too. We love talking about it. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and also leave us any comments on Spotify. Tune in. You can watch us or listen to us on your way to work. We thank you again for joining us. I'm excited for today's episode. Am I really, Paul? I don't know. But but I do love talking about horror. Obviously, I'm excited. But our movie today that we're going to talk about, our new release, I was pretty excited to see it until I saw the trailer. And then I just kind of, just went along. Was like, well, let's see what this is about. Let's see what this is giving. It's a sequel, and so I'm ready to get into it. Paul, let's talk about it. M3GAN 2.0.
Yeah, let's dive right in. So, again, a sequel to M3GAN, which was released in 2022. The plot follows M3GAN, a Model 3 generative android, being rebuilt to combat a humanoid military robot built using M3GAN's technology, which is attempting an AI takeover. Gerard Johnson directed this movie as well. And as we kind of briefly discussed after viewing the trailer in our last episode, the film looks like it was doing something completely different than the original M3GAN. Uh, the movie appeared to be more comical, even hilarious at parts. Um, and we were kind of iffy about it, but Danny and I actually saw the movie together. So we went to the theater, we checked it out and everything. And yeah, so let's dive out into it. I'm going to start with standout performances. So, I mean, I felt like the cast did what they did. You know, it was a good job. I felt that Allison Williams, who played Gemma, I thought she actually did a really good job. I felt like we saw a different side to her in this movie than the original. She
Yeah,
was like more multifaceted and stuff. And I feel like that was kind of cool, you know, at least a progression than what, you know, occurred in the original M3GAN.
yeah,
What do you think, Danny?
yeah. I would say Allison Williams definitely saw a different side of the character Gemma. I really enjoy her and Megan's uh relationship in this one.
Yeah, their
This
banter.
is,
I like that.
yeah, their banter, this relationship was like it was really funny. It was like two sisters just kind of get on each other's nerves. So I did enjoy that. I also enjoyed Christian Bradley's performance. Aristotle Atari, his name is.
Mm.
So I did enjoy him. He was funny and just kind of like a bit of quirky, and just gave the movie a little bit more layers because it was, we'll talk about it later, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about it soon. How it was lacking in a lot of different areas, but I would say Aristotle did a good job.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely had a little bit more moments of shine in this
Yeah.
movie. So I thought when he did shine, you know, it was executed well. So I mean, let's just get down to it. So um, definitely the movie was comical, right? It was hilarious. We kind of sensed that from the trailer that we were going to see a more fun, hilarious approach to M3GAN
Yeah.
and the movie itself and how it was being executed and directed. There were still kills, right?
Yeah.
But the tone of the movie was completely different than the first.
Right.
Um, for what they were trying to do, in my opinion, I feel like they did it well. I feel that I was pleasantly surprised because I'm not going to lie, when I saw the trailer, I was just like, this isn't. It's not going to be like M3GAN. What they're going to be doing is going to like fall flat. But I thought for what they were doing, it was okay. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now the question is, should they have done it? You know, should they have gone that route? Um, and will they regret it ultimately? You know, so we can dive into that. But yeah, Danny, what do you think about that? The stuff I just said.
Um, yeah, I was like I mentioned to you before, so we did go see it We were in Vegas, and got to experience it together. And so I was surprised. I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. The the trailers was just giving um, humor, a lot more action, just a whole different take, 180 flip. And we've seen things like this in the past, like with Leprechaun, started off very scary. Then it was like, okay, this character is hilarious. Warwick is hilarious, so let's take it a different route. And we've seen it with Chucky, but they did it so effortlessly and amazing, like it worked. Here, not so much. It did work for what it did. Like it provided me some good laughs. Like I said, the banter between Megan and Gemma, hilarious. Um, some great moments, but I don't know. It was just lacking for me.
I
Yeah,
I agree with you. So like I like the examples you brought up because Leprechaun, Child's Play, Chucky. I feel like in those movies, yeah, it started off the original, like the first one started off like a little bit more scary, eerie, horror-esque, but they still had elements of like comedy,
yeah,
right? Like it was
yeah,
still they still had funny parts, like you laugh and stuff like that. But I thought as the progression went on, it happened more. It was organically, I guess, and it was more
yeah.
like natural. And I felt like it stayed true to the element of the movies. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
Leprechaun still stayed Leprechaun, Child's Play still played
Yeah,
Child's Play. I feel like here, which I think you were pretty much saying, is that um, it took away from what Megan was.
yeah.
I guess you would say what the original was, and
Right. The
um,
original the character of Megan and intention, because like we've seen the intention change, right? So
right,
with the intention changing, the character changes, and I get that. However, it's just like one of those things where it didn't quite work as well as I hoped, or I think they planned it to work
yeah,
on screen. And now, you may it's just a completely different film
it's
at this
completely
point.
different. Yeah,
At
it's
this
more
point,
it's more of like an action. I kind of took it as like an action packed, like this. I don't know if you want to
thriller
call her
maybe.
doll anymore. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know. It's
Right.
just like I don't know.
All
I
right.
know there were
I
like
know.
definitely some mixed reviews. Did you see what Rotten Tomatoes gave it or anything like that?
Yes. So Rotten Tomatoes came in a whopping 57%.
Okay.
Yeah. So 57%, which is not crazy,
Right. Not
And
crazy
then
bad.
IMDb did a 6.3 out of 10. And I want to just contrast that um to the first one, Megan. That got a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's at a 7 out of 10 on IMDb. But it said less of the users were, or less people were expected to like Megan than Megan point 2.0, which is interesting to me.
Mhm.
Um, because you go into like some of the people, some of just the critics and just viewers in general, it flopped at the box office. They were saying that this wasn't the sequel that people wanted to see.
Mhm.
It came out with a lot of slack on this,
Yeah.
but
And I feel like, I mean, a lot of sentiments out there were pretty much the same sentiments that we had.
right,
Um, you have Megan, 2022 release that was what, like basically a horror thriller. And then you have this Megan 2.0 is pretty much like an action comedy movie.
yeah,
You know what I mean? While I mean not entirely negative, um, I think when you put something on screen like Megan, and then you're gonna expound upon that and continue the story, I think it should at least be in the same realm house,
yeah,
as the original, and I think that's kind of where they fell short. But I mean, if you look at it in an isolated, universe or whatever you want to say, an isolated movie, I feel like what they're trying to do, they did it okay. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And we got also, also take into account. I get that Megan, even the first one, the original one, was really good. Like it had a lot of horror to it. It was a little
Suspense.
creepy, but uh, even when we was watching that, we had to realize that it wasn't a spiritual matter at all. As opposed to dolls and stuff before her. This was completely AI.
Right.
So it was a different take on it. It doesn't have like the same, I guess, emotional attachments that either, Chucky from Child's Play or things like that.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have, a spirit per se. But I'm like, same thing, like you said, I think there should have been just a little bit more similarity,
Yeah.
instead of going up 180 for the sequel.
Yeah. And I think that what you just said makes a lot of sense too, because if you think about it, from that perspective, not trying to compare her, and not saying everybody did this, but
Right.
um, if you just try not to compare her for the other like killer dolls, Chucky, whatever, uh,
Annabelle.
Annabelle,
Yeah.
and those other dolls, like where there's like certain evil entities possessing them, or
Yeah.
well, in Chucky's sense, it's just an evil individual, right? But
Hated Child's
you're right. But it's more of like an AI, and as we know, AI, it's like it can progress and stuff. So I mean, if you think about it from that standpoint, I guess it makes sense from what he was trying to do. But
Right.
um, yeah, it just didn't work. Danny, why don't you tell us what you rated the movie?
Yeah, so I rated it a C. I'm just gonna give it a hardcore C. It was funny, entertaining at parts, kind of lost me at parts. Like just my attention. Um, and it did. I understood what they were doing, but for me, it just kind of fell flat. So, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like you said, like we both said, they were like it was. Don't get me wrong, it was a hilarious movie.
Yeah,
Had us cracking up at a lot of parts,
yeah,
especially when she burst out into song with
right.
Gemma.
Oh my God. This
I was,
burst out into song was crazy work.
yeah, I was dying. Um, but yeah, overall, I agree. I give it a C. It did what it did. We wanted it to work a little better, but it didn't work out that way. So,
We did. It didn't work out that way, but you know what did work out that way? Our classic that we're
hey,
going to discuss right now. The classic, this is a part of our episode where we like to talk about our classics, our classic horror films, and then we usually stay on the same theme. So this episode's theme is, the lead is somehow killer dolls, whether people's possessed or just directed by something. I do want to point out my shirt, which is great on theme today. We got Chauncey from Imaginary, which is also a really good film. You haven't checked that out. It's a Blumhouse and Lionsgate teamed up on that one. But that's not our classic. Our
it's not.
classic is Dolly Dearest. Our
Hey,
classic, Dolly Dearest. So if you have not even heard of Dolly Dearest or seen it, please check the film out. Okay.
we are very disappointed in you if you have not seen it or heard it. You are not a true horror fan.
Yep, that part, that part. Okay, it goes back. It's 91.
Yep,
Okay,
1991.
yeah, came out. So, Child's Play did kind of start this amazing trend of killer dolls and possession. This like another Child's Play came out in 88,
Yep,
uh, and Dolly Dearest came out in 91. So, but it capitalized on it. It was like we need a female counterpart. So they were like, all right, let's do this Dolly Dearest thing.
yep.
And so let me get into what it's about, talk about a little bit of the film, uh, production, and some of the great cast on it, and then I'll throw it to you, Pauline, to get your input on the film as well. So after Elliot, played by Sam Bottoms, an American businessman, takes ownership of a doll manufacturing company in Mexico, which I don't know why he would do that, strange things start happening to his family. Most notably, his young daughter Jessica, played by Candy Hudson, develops an unusually close bond with a doll she has found. The doll, possessed by an evil spirit, proceeds to terrorize the household and exert its influence on Jessica. Can Elliot free his little girl from the doll's supernatural grip? I don't know, Kenny, but it's such a good film. Dolly Dearest goes through this transformation. So we see, with Charles Lee Ray, possession, Chucky is a spirit of a man. This is an evil demonic spirit, so it's totally different. And Dolly Dearest is just ugly. Just the faces and the expressions in this doll is crazy. It was before its time, in my opinion.
I
91, it had a lot of the CG animation. It was directed by Maria Lee, so again, a really big thing back then in the early 90s for a female director of a horror film like this, distributed by Trimark Pictures. We miss Trimark, don't we? Yeah, Leprechaun. Yeah, a lot of different pictures produced by Trimark. And so let's talk about a little bit of the great performers in this. So we had Chris Dimitro, which was pretty big back in the early 90s. He was in a lot of the horror films and For Hope, and came back for Dolly Dearest, the sequel. We had Denise Crosby, who was amazing. You know her from Pet Cemetery as the mother. She was also in Trekkers and Mortuary. Just a great horror actor. Rip Torn, we know Rip, rest in peace, from Men in Black, Dodgeball. I mean, the list goes on and on. Did
yeah.
voiceovers for films and television shows and games. So it was a studded cast, It was really just a really good cast. We see Candace Hudson, grow up to still be in the industry. Her biggest thing was Land Before Time as a voiceover artist on that. Um, but we start off, and they're in Mexico. The whole family get picked up in Mexico, get this doll, possession, attachment. We see the steps of attachment, demonic possession, all that stuff. What I want to get your opinion on the film, and like what was your lasting impression on Dolly Dearest?
Yeah, it's crazy because this movie, like you said, was definitely before its time, and I feel like it's definitely an hidden gem and underrated, and it basically encompasses, killer dolls and possession. And if you take it from your typical possession movie, where say a spirit embarks on a particular person or something, they go through these stages of, what I mean,
Yeah,
kind of like throwing horror movies out there, but Witchboard,
yeah,
similar to that. The main character went through, the anger, the possession, the everything. It's the
yeah.
same thing that Jessica went through in this movie, but it was a doll that was actually, the
The
entity as opposed
conduit.
to
Yeah,
just this, spirit. So I thought that was very interesting. I thought the movie was fun. Dolly Dearest is hilarious.
yeah.
Like,
It's
I want to say,
hilarious.
like, if you compare Child's Play to Dolly Dearest, I think Dolly Dearest was like definitely more funnier than Child's Play. And
Mm.
you're right. Like when she came to, like that evil spirit came out and she started being animated, she was ugly. Like she just made these faces, like it was like
Ugly as hell.
grin, like, ugh. But it's like she's just frowning all the time. But a part that stands out to me in that movie is I don't remember his name in the movie, but it was like kind of the dark haired. I don't know if he was Hawaiian or Samoan, but he had a heart attack by seeing her, and she just
Yeah.
laughed the
Okay.
entire time.
Yeah. It's three.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't remember his name, but he like there was a couple of them and like sorry, he had a heart attack and all I did was just kept laughing at him.
Yeah.
Um,
You're talking about the heavier set guy, right?
yeah, the heavier set, yeah,
Yeah. Luis.
yeah, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That
So
was crazy.
that part was insane. I do want to note that this movie did, it beat Child's Play in the whole mass possession of dolls. Because remember,
Yeah.
you see that there
Yeah.
were so many in that warehouse, and they all were
Yeah.
possessed by a spirit. That
All
didn't
of
happen
them.
in Child's Play until what, the series, when they
The
showed that they
series,
were
yeah.
all like, yeah. So
Yeah.
they did that first in this movie, which I
Yeah. They
thought
did.
was creepy as hell because you just saw all
Got-
those
yeah.
dolls.
Right. And speaking of creepiness, like I do. I feel like it did such a great job at keeping its horror and its core of
Yeah,
scariness, but still being funny
funny, right? Mm-hmm.
because she was terrifying. Me to look at her, she was it's
Mm-hmm.
like just
Yeah,
creepy.
she
Um,
was such a cute little
I
doll, but
just a
once
cute little doll at first, but until she started crinkling up and then and then yeah, it was just such. I do wanna point out another performer too that I totally forgot about. Lupe Ontiveros. She is we know her from playing
oh yeah,
what is it? Sonia from Selena.
yeah,
Uh,
Lupe,
yeah, she and then so many other things. She's been dibbling dabbling in horror since '91, which is
mm-hmm.
crazy. Maybe even before that, but I did want to throw a special shout out to her.
Yeah,
But as you said, like yeah, this Dolly Dearest is such an underrated movie. I know Child's Play got a lot more of the press, even when they came out with the second one in '92, a year later. It didn't do so well. What I mean, it did worse than the first one. And they took it in sort of a different way route, not so crazy like Megan, but it just kind of I guess it lost its flavor than it had
yeah.
in the first one.
And if I remember correctly, Dolly Dearest, the original, was supposed to be um, straight to uh, VHS or something like that, right? I don't think it was
Yeah.
supposed to. I think it was only limited in its releasing, so um, that probably had a role, played a role into it as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was a great movie. Everyone definitely please check it out. You can see it actually on Pluto TV now. Um, And that's all I got for you as far as where you can see it. It's really it's a film that's it's not everywhere. So like you
Right?
definitely get that DVD or like I said Pluto TV, check it out there. You can I watched it the other what is like a couple weeks ago. Uh
Yeah, you can
it
have
did
that.
get Rotten Tomatoes did get 34% and IMDb 4.8 out of 10. So not so great. However, those are just,
We loved
you
it.
know, yeah, we loved it. And it's
And
it's one of those cult classics.
yes, definitely. And for those of you that still have VHS
Oh
tape
yeah.
players,
Yeah.
or like the dual DVD and the VHS ones, you can definitely buy it probably on eBay, Amazon. Check it out uh, that way, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of copies out that way. For
Oh
sure.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, and it doesn't stop. We like I said, like we were talking about. June has been a great month for horror and for our genre. We had a lot to
Oh
talk
wait,
about.
wait, I did want to say something else.
Sorry.
No, because I knew, sorry, I know you was moving on yet.
No,
So
you're good.
I want us to touch base on this real quick because if it happens, that's gonna be phenomenal. All right, ready?
Uh-huh.
3, 2, 1. And you know what, Danny? I mean, I would not be mad at all if they rebooted uh, Dolly Dearest. You know,
No, no,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, I would. I think it would do so well. Now in today's age, for real, if they just came back
Yes.
with it. It was already a decent movie. Like you were talking about special effects and stuff like that. But I feel like they, did more with it now, it would be way more successful.
That's that definitely. I agree. I definitely agree. Um, yeah, and they can do so much with it.
Mhm.
And then you even add, I mean, as a series or as a film, and just add that
Yeah.
that horror back to it, that we know and love.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm excited. That would be good. That would be actually really cool. We should actually do that. Let's just create it.
Yeah.
Let's do it ourselves. Let's do it ourselves. It's fine. Uh, But anywho, so we were talking about earlier that June has been a great month for horror, right? And so we're continuing um, that roll down the horror train. So you get why I did that? I should have said terror train, a little terror train, as a pun.
We got it. We got
I
it.
was like, you see what I did there? Um, but I want to talk about an upcoming film. Um, that's a new release that we want to discuss because it seems like it's a actual going to be a pretty good film. Neither of us have seen it yet, uh, but it's around my one of my favorite genres, which is like apocalyptic zombie. So let's talk about it. Let's get into it. It's called Forgive Us All.
Yes. So Forgive Us All will be released on streaming platforms Friday, July 11th. The movie has to do with a virus which has made humans into violent cannibals. A woman sheltering in a mountain cabin must decide to help a stranger on the run or not. Basically, the only escape is through the cannibal infested forest. So we're definitely going to see some
Mhm.
dire straits here. And it kind of reminded me, obviously, completely different situation, but it kind of reminded me of the newly released, I think it was released last year, Wolfman,
Yeah,
where the wife was tasked with kind of like the dilemma of helping her husband or not, keeping her
yeah.
safe or not. So I kind of it's giving me that vibe a little bit. But Danny, you know a little bit about the director, right?
Yes, I do. So, the director is Jordana Stout, and so she is like an upcoming director, like kind of like a very on the indie scene, I would say. Really taking that power, and hopefully we'll see a lot more with this one. So her biggest thing was Twisted, and Sisters of War back in 2010 and 2013, respectively. So this is her comeback, So I'm excited to see what's in store. So you want to check out the trailer and
Yeah,
see
let's
what's
do it.
going on
Take a
with it?
look. Look a little peeksy.
All right, let's check it out.
They say God has left us. Couldn't believe what we've become.
It's nearly 4 years since the outbreak. The days are getting longer and harder.
What is it that we're doing here?
We're surviving.
Your son is gone. I put my child in the ground. I'm not your daughter-in-law anymore. I'm just a ghost. Make a wish.
GMA agents.
Well, you're not going to let us in?
We got this rule, you see. Never invite murderers into the house.
We're not interested in you. We're hunting a man.
Who are you?
6 foot, sandy hair, probably injured, definitely hostile.
I broke into camp. It's infected.
The boy needs it within 72 hours or it won't work.
You're not going through that forest. You'll be torn to pieces.
If I can save you from doing what I had to, I'm going into that forest with you.
Without order, there's only chaos.
What happened to us? It can't be for nothing.
I mean, it looks pretty interesting, honestly. So, I mean, I'm kind of excited
Yeah.
for you. This film was independently financed, independently produced. So, I mean, we're gonna see how it all works out.
Yeah, very much so. I'm excited to see it. it's giving like a Western vibe on zombie apocalypse.
Right.
um, and I was, two actors stand out to me. The one of two of the leads, obviously, too. The Australian actress Lily Sullivan, which we saw on Evil Dead Rise,
Mhm.
which was really good. And the one I automatically could just figure out, and I was like, oh, I know him from the trailer is Richard Roxburgh, and he's from Van Helsing,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
Mission Impossible 2. Yeah, so I was like, oh, I know him. So I made me a little bit more excited to see it. So, and yeah, it's an Aussie horror film. So I'm ready to check it out. We'll check it out and see where it's at. Where can we find it to
Oh,
watch this on?
so that's a good question. And I did have that answer. 'Cause I'm pretty sure it's Prime.
He said, "Let me." That's a good question.
Okay, yeah, I knew it. I was just all right, ready?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so yeah, I'm excited. It's a good Aussie horror film, and where can we find this on?
yeah, so you can find that again Friday, July 11th on streaming platforms, Apple TV, Amazon Video.
Oh, nice. So yeah, so it is coming out soon, and we'll be talking about that and reviewing that on the next episode. So it
Yes,
seems like
sir.
it's gonna be a good find. Hopefully, it proves us right.
We like to be proved right now.
Right.
Oh, baby.
All right, so this is the part of our episode we got to ask questions. We are experts, so we like to test our knowledge on horror and all things. Okay, so I'll go first, and my question is regarding our classic Dolly Dearest. Okay,
Right, right.
so Dolly Dearest was the name that was decided on production, but before that, it had another name. So what was that name? We're gonna do a nice little 1, 2, 3 with the multiple choice. So was it A, Dolly Dearest Play? Or was it B, She Dolly? Or was it C, Child's Play 4?
Uh,
A, B, or C? He said, yeah. I'll play, y'all can play along. So the first one is excuse me, the first one is Dolly Dearest Play. Second one is She Dolly. And C is Child's Play 4. Y'all play along. What you got?
all right. So we're gonna do process elimination here. I'm immediately gonna X out Child's Play 4 because that just because I'm trying to remember. I think Child's Play 3 came out in 92 or 93. So I want to say Child's Play. Obviously, the original Child's Play came out in 98. I mean 88. Dude. Yeah, I don't even think Child's Play 3 is out when Dolly Dearest came. So I'm gonna eliminate C. I'm gonna eliminate Child's Play 4. Um, and the first one sounds so stupid. Dolly Dearest Play, and then She Dolly. Is that
Yeah, She Dolly.
oh, that one sounds good actually. She Dolly, Dolly Dearest Play. Okay, I'm just gonna go with I'm gonna go with B, She Dolly. Final answer, sir.
B, She Dolly, final answer. And that would be incorrect. Oh, sorry about that. That's all. I wonder what all y'all had in mind as well. Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. We'll see in just a second. So the correct answer is the one that you actually X'd out first. Child's Play 4.
What?
So, yes, indeed. So I'll tell you. So Child's Play 4 came out in 91. The Dolly Dearest came out in 91. So there's a lot. They did a lot of films between 88 and 91 for
Oh,
Child's Play.
three was 91 though.
Yeah, 3 was 91. So they were gonna come out. This came out after 3. So there was gonna be Child's Play 4. They were gonna do an actual female version of Child's
Oh
Play.
my God.
So in the super early days of working, it was working under the title Child's Play 4 until it hit the theaters. 2 months before that, they changed it to Dolly Dearest because they were going to create Child's Play 4 using same Chucky, Charles Lee Ray,
Oh.
because 3 did so good. But yeah, so a little bit. There's actually a promotion poster out there. If you can find it, I don't know if it's still on the internet, that has Child's Play 4 Dolly Dearest doll right underneath it,
That's
which is
hilarious.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
haven't
mean,
found it.
and honestly, the funny thing is I was gonna go with that one first because I was like, it's just so random for to be in the selection.
Right,
And
right.
usually the most random ones are the answer. But then I was like, I could have swore that Child's Play 3 didn't come out until 92 or
I
93.
I thought Child's Play 3 or came out a little later, but then I was young. By the time I saw it, it was probably like 96 or something. But yeah,
Man,
they came
that's
out the same year. Crazy.
very, very interesting. Well, I'm glad they didn't do that because that wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
It probably would
What
have
you
ended the
got for me?
franchise right there.
Right, right. That would have been the end of it.
You know? Wow. Okay. Well, like, even I have a bad day.
Right.
Um,
All right, what you got?
all right. My question is obviously along the same theme. All right. Which doll is cited as being the most dangerous doll? Is it A, Chucky? Is it B, M3GAN? Is it C, Annabelle?
You said most dangerous dog. Who's deciding this? Who's the deciding thing?
It's cited by basically um, the world, essentially. So there were like if you I guess you would take polls and who would be the most dangerous doll. So if they were to say poll 100 people, who
Mm.
what would they say? This is like the consensus of the most cited doll as being the most dangerous.
Oh, okay. So it's just like they did a poll on the internet or something. The most dangerous nowadays. I mean, I would go with either. I wouldn't say Chucky. I would go with either M3GAN or Annabelle. M3GAN, on a sense of everything is AI now, so that's pretty dangerous. Can send missiles to different countries. And then Annabelle is just spiritual, so that's pretty dangerous too. I guess Chucky is like a lot of him now. Um, you know what? Let's go with. I'm gonna say B, M3GAN, the most
B
dangerous.
B
Yeah,
M3GAN is
just
you're saying it's
today.
cited as the most dangerous doll. And that answer is
They say Annabelle or Chucky.
yeah, definitely. The answer is C, Annabelle.
Yeah, I was gonna say Annabelle.
Yeah. As we know, Annabelle is kept in a glass case at the Warren Occult Museum and is believed by some to be possessed by an actual demon. So she is cited as being the most dangerous doll ever. You were
Yeah,
close.
I can do rebuttal to that though, because nowadays, come on now, Megan.
AI, right? Exactly.
Megan can get into these lights if she wanted to and tear me up. Okay.
Well, I guess people saying, AI can't mess with no demon. I guess what they're saying. Yes.
Yeah, they're possessed by them. That's what it is. Well, we both got them wrong. Should have went with my gut and Megan. And you should have went with yours too. Oh well.
But they were good questions nonetheless. We bestowed some knowledge upon our viewers
Yes,
because they
indeed.
probably didn't know either.
They're like, actually,
Right. And if y'all did know, let us know because it would be like, oh, okay, go ahead. Like we'll have you on the show because we'll
right,
definitely ask you some more questions and see if you can hold a light to us.
right, okay, all right.
Well, that wraps up today's scare sode. Thanks for joining us. We're going beyond the scare. We did discuss the M3GAN 2.0 as we talked about. I mean, if you haven't checked it out yet, go check it out. You know what I
Why
mean?
not?
It's decent. Just
Yeah.
don't expect M3GAN 2022, right? Don't expect this horror thriller type suspense thing. You're not going to get that. So don't walk in there expecting that because you will be disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to laugh, you want to see some, actions, definitely check it out. Any
It's a
lasting thoughts,
must.
Danny?
No, I second that. Also, big shout out to Dolly Dearest if you have not seen that.
Yes.
Check that out.
Yes.
And then stay tuned for Forgive Us All as we dive into another film, talking all things horror. I'm excited. Let's get into it. Can't wait. Can't wait. Come get it. Come get it. Make sure you tune in.
Danny, let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me everywhere at I am Danny Royce, and we're just a mess on the show. Come and hang with us and talk about all things horror. We're real. We keep it real, and you'll always get our true opinions right here on the spot.
Always, always. And you guys can find me at Alpha Boy than I1. And again, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube. Check us out on Spotify, Instagram as well. And if you, like Danny said earlier in the episode, have any movies that you want us to touch on, anything you want us to discuss, I mean, if you want to hop on the show, answer some questions, let's do it. Thanks again for going beyond the scare with us, and we'll see you next time.